Welcome to Motherhood. Whether you're 18 or 80, Dr. Christina Hibbert, clinical psychologist, author, and mother of 6, is here to help you through the ups and downs, the joys and frustrations, the new information from experts, and the stories of happiness and heartbreak from real moms. Remember, if you can, tell your mama to listen too.
And I'll make everything all right.
Here's Christy.
Welcome to Motherhood, everybody. It's me, Dr. Christina Hibbert, Dr. Christy, and I'm here to help you overcome, become, and flourish in this worthy experience we call motherhood. And today we're focusing on that last bit, the flourishing and the goodness and the joy and the happiness and the good stuff that happens to us as moms. And how do we own that without feeling like we're being prideful or like we're being snobbish? How do we understand and feel and work from a place of true self-worth and not that false self-esteem that the world teaches us? How do we do that? How do we understand our true worth as moms? Because let me tell you, if there's one thing I've learned being a psychologist over many years, one thing I've seen working with so many women and moms especially, is that we moms are probably the worst at truly not only comprehending, we might even understand it, but do we feel our true self-worth? And do we understand it? Do we act from that place of self-worth in all we do? Or do we feel like we have to, quote, be humble, which we'll talk about today? We have that wrong in so many instances, denying any praise, denying anything good, putting it all back on other people, having no attention come to us because we are the ones that are supposed to serve and love, and that's what we do best, right? But probably what we do worst is to embrace and accept who we really are and to own the good stuff, the fabulous stuff, the flourishing, and to understand how to use that to be a force for good, because we need mothers to own their worth and to own their exceptionality, as I say, and to own their incredible generosity and love and all these talents we've been given, because without that, we cannot model and share and teach our children, right? And we need children who know who they are and who are embracing that true worth that they given, their God-given divine worth of who they are, what they're meant to do, who go out into the world and do it, and who don't question themselves all the time or have to minimize themselves, right? Because that is where you change the world. It's not done in the legislation. It's not done in courtrooms or even, I argue, in the home. The greatest battles of motherhood are to be won within. And that's what today's show is all about. And we don't have a guest. I am the show today. So hopefully you're cool with that, because I have a lot to share on this. This is my passion and the thing that I've been working on for many, many years, and the thing I'm working on now. And I'm excited to share a few things that hopefully will inspire you to understand who you really are a little bit better and to know how to embrace that worth and to work from that place. So, first of all, I just want to thank you for being here with me and taking some time to listen. I hope you have gone to iTunes, if you can, and subscribed, because it comes right to your podcasts if you have an Apple product. Or you can go to SoundCloud and subscribe, and it'll come right to you there. Or you can go to my website and subscribe and get updates to my newsletter and blog posts, and some of the new episodes will be posted there as well. And you can also find me on social media. That's also a great way to get updates. If you can join our Growing Through Motherhood Facebook group, that's where I usually post these episodes first and post the videos that go along with them. So whether you're listening or whether you're on YouTube, you can also subscribe on YouTube if you want to watch the videos, and they'll send them right to you. There's lots and lots of ways to tune in, but I'm really grateful that you do. And find me on social media, Dr. Christina Hibbert, on Facebook, Instagram, on Twitter. Anywhere you are, I'm there, and I would love to connect and learn more about what you want to hear, what you want to do, what you know, what you can share with the world, because this isn't just a show for, quote, fancy people that have a certain, degree or have done certain things. No, this is for you moms. And I'm really excited to get to share just the everyday moms that are doing extraordinary things. And today, that's what I'm going to talk about. So I'm really inspired because I just returned from the American Mothers Incorporated convention. Now, I had never heard of American Mothers before I was nominated by a friend here in town as Arizona's Mother of the Year, and I was selected as Arizona's Mother of the Year, and I can say that proudly because I'm very happy, and it's been a great honor and really a true pleasure to get to be involved with this organization who has been honoring mothers since 1935. And Eleanor Roosevelt was involved in first starting this project, and there has been just incredible women honored over the years. So when I received my, I knew I'd been nominated, and then you have to apply and, submit a portfolio, and then they go, they have a search committee that goes through the portfolios and selects a winner from each state, and the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. And anyway, when I was told that I had been selected, I was really excited. I made a video recently talking about this, but it took me a little while to even do that, because when I was excited, I was like, I'm so excited, but I don't know if I should tell anybody. And, we had a show a couple weeks ago on how to be happy for other people, but I think we need to have this show today on how to be happy for ourselves. And to not feel like we're bragging or like we're doing something wrong if we just own what we've been given. And when we're honored and celebrated, go with it, right? That's one thing I've learned this week. So being able to just own it and go with it and let everyone clap for me and let me walk the red carpet on the arm of a serviceman while, somebody's extolling my virtues to the whole room that's clapping and cheering for me. That's 2 nights ago. That's what I was doing, dressed up and feeling like a queen. That was a great night and a wonderful honor. And to see, not only to get to experience myself, but honestly, what made it better for all of us was seeing so many others that were also getting the same queen treatment. And that's what American Mothers does. And I hope you'll go to americanmothers.org and learn more about them and nominate someone for Mother of the Year, because yes, it is a real thing. And so I am this year's Mother of the Year for Arizona. And as the Mother of the Year for Arizona, I really feel like it fits right in line with what I'm doing, because I've been working on this book project, Mastery of Motherhood. And in that book project, I'm trying to help you moms understand your true worth. Really, that's what it comes down to. There's more to it, but ultimately, I feel like that is the thing that we most need. And then I saw, as I'm going through this myself, I saw how I was sort of like, ooh, I don't even know how to tell people. And I even waited a few days before I even said anything. And then I made a video sharing a clip of me reading from my book, This Is How We Grow, because several years ago, 10 years ago, probably, right after I inherited my nephews and went from 3 to 6 kids, I had written in my journal about how I had seen an episode of Oprah, or maybe it was in a magazine. I don't even remember exactly where, but it was of a Mother of the Year. And she was gorgeous and tall and fit and beautiful. And she had 7 beautiful children that just looked perfect. And she was the Mother of the Year, and she seemed so happy, and like everything was so good and great and wonderful. And it just seemed so perfect that I was like, I could never and would never be able to be like that. I wish I could be, quote, a Mother of the Year, or even feel like one. But at that time, I just was trying to just feel like, a good enough mother, right? And that's what I told myself, that you can feel like a Mother of the Year just by serving your children and loving them. I really felt this call at the time to build my family through this grief and trauma. And that was what was kind of giving me my steam moving forward and telling me you can feel like a Mother of the Year just by loving your family, right? And we all can. But it was so interesting when I finally received this honor. I went back and looked that up in the book, because I was like, oh yeah, that really did happen. I said I would never be able, that would never happen to me. And then here it is happening, right? And so I think it was hard for me to own. And all the good things are hard for us to own, aren't they? And that's one thing I saw at the American Mothers Convention. So we had, all of these 2018 Mothers of the Year from different states and territories, and also some mothers of achievement who have done amazing things. You can also nominate a mother of achievement who has just gone above and beyond in service and doesn't even have to be an actual mother, but just has served, and done some incredible things. And these women have done incredible things. And everybody that would get up to speak, you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. And then the next one, no, they are so amazing. And I think it was easy for we women, almost all of us probably, we could have easily just sat back and gone, ugh, why am I even here? And I know several said that they felt that way, at least at the first. Why am I even here? How do I even fit into this? Because these are such incredible people. And yet we fail to see and acknowledge our own incredibility, right? And so I know it's a struggle for all of us. And not just when we receive a big award like this, but even just when someone compliments us, right? You look so pretty today. No, I'm just, I'm so tired, or blah, or gosh, I love your outfit. Oh, well, it's just an old thing and someone, whatever. Or, oh, you did such a great job on your talk today. And well, no, I messed up and really, we do that, don't we? And that all goes back to our self-worth. It seems like it's simple to say, just accept a compliment, right? This is the advice we hear, and it's good advice. Accept a compliment. And I would say the same thing. When someone compliments you, don't say no, don't deny, just say thank you. And I would say, look them in the eyes and just say thank you. That really means so much to me. Once I've learned to do that, that has made a huge difference in my life. But that's hard to do if you don't feel any kind of self-worth. And I think we fail to work on our own self-worth because we're so busy trying to build up our children. And that's worthy and it's important, and we must do that. If we don't, who will? But also, if we don't do it for ourselves, they're going to see us. They're going to see us standing in the mirror thinking we look fat. They're going to hear us say things about ourselves. Once I also wrote about this, and this is how we grow, but many years ago, when I was going through the worst of everything, and I just felt, I turned it all on myself. We were going through these court battles to try to get the kids adopted, and I just hate contention, and it was so contentious, and I felt so attacked, and we were trying to just do what was right. And so instead of I didn't want to be angry at the people that were doing this, so I just turned it all on myself. And then I finally realized, well, that's no better. How is it better for me to hate myself or to loathe myself or to be mean to myself than it is to be to someone else? Because I'm another person. Yet we do it all the time. And one day I was yelling, frustrated, just kind of venting it all out to my husband, my poor husband who's been through all of it with me. And I said something about, I'm so weak. Why can't I do better? Why am I such a mess? Why can't, other mothers can do this so much better than I can. They have families and they choose to have 6 kids and they do it brilliantly. And I am just totally failing and I just can't do anything right. And I'm just exhausted and I never have enough energy and blah, blah, blah. I'm going off and listing all of my faults. And then I'm just I just hate myself. I just hate myself right now. And I said that out loud, and that's how I felt right then. And I didn't know that my then 7-year-old daughter was standing outside the door and heard me. And she came in and was like, "Mommy, you scared me because I heard you say you hate yourself." And I was like, oh, here we go. And immediately it was here's more fuel for why I'm a terrible mother, because now my daughter's going to be scarred and think she's supposed to hate herself too because she heard me saying I hate myself. But luckily I stopped and I hugged her and I was crying and I just said, I don't really mean that. And I'm sorry that you heard me say that. But sometimes you do things that are wrong and you mess up and you feel bad and you just wish that you could do better. You wish you could be a better person. Have you ever done that? Have you ever made a mistake or hurt somebody or done something that you wish you wouldn't have done? And she's like, yeah. And I'm and then you feel bad about it. And yeah. I was and that's how I've been feeling. And so that's why I said that. I don't hate myself. I hate what I've done and how I've been acting and how I've been feeling lately. That's what I hate. But I'm working to overcome it. And here's what I'm doing to work on it. And I could show her, I'm going to counseling. That's why I go to therapy. That's why mommy takes naps. That's why mommy has alone time. That's why mommy's talking to dad right now, because it helps, and I'm sorry I scared you. I didn't mean to do that. And so I was able to hopefully repair it. But that's the reality, right? It's hard to really feel our true worth and to comprehend it and to act from that place. And we think that we have to, quote, be humble. And we do, because humility is hugely important to me. It's one of my main traits that I am always seeking to work on to overcome. And pride to me is just the worst thing I can be is prideful. I do not ever want to be prideful. And yet I find myself in small ways or large ways all the time doing things that are prideful. When we envy others, when we think things and we compare with others, when we put ourselves down or another person down, make them either higher or lower than us, we are being prideful. And that's not humility. And yes, of course I do that all the time. And I've been working on it. I'm much better than I used to be. Usually it only stays in my mind, but I just can't stand when those thoughts are there. And I'm like, go away. And just praying for forgiveness and help, But humility, we get wrong all the time. So let me teach you a couple things about humility. And then I'm going to teach you some things about self-worth. I know we've talked about this on the show before, but I really want to be specific with mothers and you moms out there about how we begin to accept the good in us and to love ourselves and to build up and act from a place of self-worth. Because even though I created a theory on this, which I'll briefly mention, I know we had another episode on a long time ago. I'll try to put the link in the bio below. But even though I created this theory and have written books about this, it's still evolving. And especially I'm my own experiment, right? I'm experimenting with my own self-worth and self-confidence and understanding more and more as I grow. And I want to share some of those things with you. So first of all, humility. Humility, we think, is that we're supposed to be small. Right? We associate humility with smallness, with minimizing and diminishing ourselves, don't we? I mean, think about it. How many times have you minimized yourself or diminished something that you've done? You might have even felt like it was great, but you still diminished it because that's what a humble person does, or that's what a mother does, right? Oh, wow, look at what you did with your kids, or oh my goodness, look at how you parented that moment, or look at who you are, or look at, gosh, you're so good at being patient, and we minimize it. Even if we know that we're good at it, we minimize it. And so we think humility means we minimize, and we think humility means we have to diminish ourselves, and we think humility means we have to deny anything that might build us up. Because heaven forbid we should be built up, because we associate that with being prideful, right? With being self-centered. Look at me, I'm so awesome. Look at me, I'm so awesome. But that is not what humility or pride is, really. And there's a big difference. So, it's really important to understand, first of all, underneath all of these words we're using, humility, pride, which are opposites, right? Self-worth, self-esteem. Underneath all of these is a spectrum. And so whenever I'm talking about self-esteem and self-worth, it's important to recognize there is a spectrum of what's included in that spectrum of insecurity, I'll call it. And as I said in my Mother of the Year speech, which is on my website, there's a blog post, #Mother of the Year, and you can find the full speech there, which is only 3 minutes, so it's very quick. But one of the main points I was trying to make was that all of the hate and the violence and the bullying and even the depression and all the things that we struggle with as women, as moms, and that our kids struggle with and that the world struggles with, underneath it all is one common fuel: insecurity. That is something I know for sure. And I've heard people say all the time, well, what happens if you have too much self-confidence? Because I don't struggle with insecurity at all, and I'm just overconfident. Well, guess what? That is insecurity too. Because confidence and humility, I've learned, are the same thing. True humility is true confidence, is true self-worth. Let me say this again, because this is huge, and it has to be a shift in your thinking and all of our thinking if we're ever going to get this right. True humility is true self-worth. When we have true self-worth, when we know who we truly are, when we see ourselves as God, as our Creator sees us, as we were divinely made to be, when we see our strengths and our weaknesses, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the exceptional, When we see it all and we accept it and we work to change the things that we don't love and we accept the things that we don't love that we can't change, and we work moving forward to grow through all of our experiences, that is self-worth, and that is confidence, and that is humility. Humility doesn't mean we're quiet. Humility means it's like a humble boldness, right? That I know who I am and I know what I'm meant to do. And right now, I feel like I need to speak up about this. So right now, today, I'm sitting here doing this video and this radio show for you because I need to speak up about this, because even at this conference where all these incredible women were, I saw it over and over. Someone would be introducing them with a great bio and we'd be going, oh no, it's no big deal. That's nothing. Don't even worry. Someone would come up and compliment someone. I'd hear them say, no, I just don't even introducing ourselves. A couple of the women were like, oh, there's nothing interesting about me. And we're like, no, we want to know you. You're obviously here for a reason. Tell us what makes you great. Why can't we tell each other what makes us great? And that's very different than bragging, isn't it? Bragging is saying, look at me, I'm awesome, I'm great, I'm so wonderful. That's pride. That's the false confidence that people think they have. But I love the quote that is so true, that babbling brooks run shallow. And I always tell my kids, especially my teenage sons who have had, quote, too much confidence, that if you have to say you are something, you're probably not. And that's not humility, and that's not confidence. Saying, I'm so awesome, like, look at me, like, my 17-year-old who, when he was 16, would walk around with his shirt off because he'd be weightlifting and see his reflection in the window, and oh my gosh, he's flexing, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, stop looking at yourself in the mirror and flexing. That is so, like learn humility, kid, And he'd be like, but I'm just so awesome, like, look at my body. And like, if you have to tell me you are, then you're probably not, Like, that's just true. If you have to convince people that you are humble, then you're not. If you have to convince people that you are cool, then you're not. If you have to convince people that you are a great person, then you're probably not, Instead, humility is, I know who I am, and I know my strengths, and I know I'm good at this. And I know I'm a good person, and I know I'm a good mom. And you know what? I'm just going to move forth in the world and act from that place of self-worth. Now that is true humility. Humility that does not diminish us or make us small. And it doesn't make us grand and huge and bigger than we are either. It's just being real. Humility is realness, isn't it? And self-worth is realness too. It's being able to say, yeah, thank you for that. I've worked really hard on that, and I do feel like I've gotten really good at that. So I really appreciate you for noticing, and thank you for also pointing out that weakness of mine. You know what? You're right. That's something I really am working on, and gosh, it's so hard for me. I so struggle with that. I'm not good at that, but I'm really trying, Doesn't that sound like true humility versus, oh no, I'm terrible. No, don't even look at me. Don't even think anything good about me. That is false. Because that's not true. Because guess what? God made us, and he made us to be incredible. All of us, every one of us, even those of you out there right now who are listening to me and going, but I don't feel incredible. I'm pretty sure, God didn't make me to be incredible. I don't have any special purpose. I don't have anything special to do. I'm, quote, just a mom. That is my least favorite or most hated 4-letter word, just, J-U-S-T. We use it all the time. I'm just a mom. Well, I'm just trying to help people by, feeding the world or whatever. We minimize ourselves with that word, and we do it all the time as moms. We are just a mom. Oh, no, you are not just a mom. You are a mother. And you know what? To me, that is exceptional. You are exceptional because you are a mother. And even those who don't have their own children who mother are exceptional. All who mother are exceptional. And it doesn't matter that we make mistakes. That's part of the game, part of the gig, part of the job. What matters is that we grow through the things that we do wrong. That we realize we can't be perfect, that imperfection is part of the deal too. And it's not about perfection, it's about progression, right? It's about progression through motherhood. As we say, we are growing through motherhood and not just going through it. That's what makes us master moms, the willingness to continue to grow. And if you feel like you haven't been doing that, maybe you feel like you haven't been growing through motherhood, well, guess what? It's never too late to stop and to change. It's never too late. And to own the things that we are doing well, to give ourselves a little pat on the back. That's one thing I've been working on lately, is celebrating myself for the things that happen that are good. You know, I forced my husband to come with me to Washington, D.C., to the motherhood, to the American Mothers Convention to receive my award because it's really not his thing at all. He doesn't even like touristy stuff. And we hadn't been to Washington, D.C., and he really doesn't like, conferences and making small talk and all that. But I said, I want you to come and celebrate me. And I want us to go together because it's going to be good for our relationship, right? And so he did. And it was good. It was good for me and it was good for us. I mean, just really good. So why not let ourselves be celebrated? And if you don't feel like you're being celebrated, we got Mother's Day coming up. And I know a lot of us have these terrible Mother's Days. I've had so many where we see everybody else and feel like they're doing this great job and we're doing terribly. Well, guess what? We start working on our own worth and we celebrate ourselves, So that is humility. Humility is confidence, and true confidence is true self-worth. It's not self-esteem. So self-esteem and self-worth, you might have heard me talk about this before, are different. And what I've learned and what I believe is that self-esteem is a myth, or at least the way that we're supposed to obtain self-esteem. Self-esteem is really self-confidence, feeling confident and feeling good about yourself. But the way that the world has come to make that mean, the thing that has come to mean in our world, I guess, and the way that the quote experts on self-esteem have taught us to do that is that we're supposed to just be good at stuff. Well, you don't feel good about yourself, just practice and get better at the piano so you can be better than so-and-so. Oh, you don't feel beautiful enough? Well, just get some plastic surgery so you'll feel more beautiful, or put on more makeup, or go shopping and get a new outfit. You don't feel good enough because someone said something rude about you. Well, you know what? Just slander them back, feel confident and speak up. And people think that when you say speak up, it means speak up, trample over everybody else and say what you feel is important and forget hearing or knowing what anybody else is saying, right? That is not humility. And that is not confidence. That is self-esteem, which is all based on stuff that is outside of our control. It's all based on how we think, how we look, how we behave, what we do or don't do, how well we do or don't do it, and what others think about us that makes us feel the way we feel. And yes, it is hard. It is really, really hard, especially when we're criticized, attacked, bullied. I mean, even just, my daughter's going through some bullying stuff and with her friends and back and forth. It's just, even just that makes me feel sick to my stomach. Like, am I doing a terrible job as a mom because this stuff is going on for her and how do I handle it? And right. But when I hear those thoughts now, I just have to stop and go, no, wait a minute. That's not my self-worth. My self-worth doesn't matter. It doesn't depend on what my kids are doing or how people perceive me, or that somebody wrote a terrible book review or emailed me with some kind of rude message about what they think I'm up to or who I am. They don't know me, right? But it stings and it hurts and I feel sick about it for way too long, longer than I should, even though I'm trying inside to be like, okay, just let it go, breathe, release. And, we do that all the time. It's hard, but that self-esteem is not how we feel good about ourselves. That's not how we feel our true worth, because it's all out here. But self-worth is who we really are, deep down. I always say it's down here in our belly. It's down in our core of our being, wherever your core is. Your core is self-worth. And you either can feel it and see it and understand it and act from that place, or you cannot. And so, I started understanding this years ago when I would have client after client come in for whatever issue they had. And it would be depression, it would be anxiety, it would be relationship problems, marriage problems, it would be, parenting problems, bringing in a child, a family issue. And all of it, underneath all of it, was insecurity and self-worth problems. And so we would be working on self-esteem, and I'd be trying to build them up and tell them these things, just don't let other people get to you. And And I remember back in graduate school thinking, I was working on this too. I was in my 20s. I had 2 little kids. I was in graduate school, and I was totally like trying to figure out this insecurity thing, because even at school, I remember being in, a group therapy class, and basically it was group therapy. And we were supposed to talk about the things that were the hardest for us to talk about. And one thing that I was talking about was my religion. I'm LDS, I'm Mormon, and we were talking, everybody was talking about like discrimination, and I was sharing a lot of the things that, I just recently read an article that Mormons are like the last population that it's still okay to make fun of, right? And I get it. It's funny sometimes, but also it hurts. And I've had a son who was really bullied because of his religion and our beliefs. And so, talking there, it was just so many insecurities, and oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm so weird, and they're going to, and by the end of it, we all came to see each other, which I loved. That's why I love talking about this stuff and really trying to see each other, because when we really see each other, then we can really care for each other and serve each other. That's the theme of American Mothers this year too, is we see, we care, we serve. So awesome. That's what our speeches were about. So we can't rely on self-esteem to get us there. Instead, it has to be something else. And that's what I learned, even working on that myself, was it has to be, I can't just tell myself, okay, don't care about what other people think, which is what I first did. Then I started saying, no, it's not about me not caring what other people think. It's about me caring more what I think than what other people think. Now that's a self-esteem thing, and it's good. It's a better shift, right? We need to care more about what we think and believe than what other people are saying, because if that carries more weight, then what they say won't topple us every time someone has a differing opinion, right? But even that wasn't the core. And it wasn't until I started practicing psychology, obviously after graduate school, that I started to see, after working with so many clients, that it's about it's different. That's self-esteem, and self-worth is something different. We are all worthy just because we are here. You're a human being. You have life. You have something to offer. You have something to give. You have something important to do. It might not seem like it or feel like it, because whatever you're doing is in the shadows or hidden, or it feels small. But, it's like Mother Teresa said, there are no small acts, there are no small things that we can do, only, what was it? Small acts with great love, right? That's what the big things are. It's not about doing the great and powerful things. It's about doing the small things with great love. I think that's it. And so it's easy to feel that way, but it isn't even about like thinking or believing that we are good, because even that can lead to that false self-esteem that I'm so much better than everybody. And that can lead to that pride, and it flips us the other way. It's like this pendulum of, I'm not good enough, I'm a terrible person, I'm horrible at everything, to I'm so awesome, I love myself, I'm the best. But they're false. We need to get out of the pendulum and just be, just be who we are. And that's what self-worth is. It's who we truly are, who God has made us to be. If you believe in God, higher power, but you have to believe, as a mother, I believe we all have to believe in something bigger than ourselves that has given us this beautiful responsibility that we just can't even comprehend. And this opportunity to grow, which is the greatest soil for personal growth, I always say, is being a mom, being a parent. Parenting is the greatest soil for personal growth if we plant ourselves in it and choose to grow, right? And that's what self-worth is. It's knowing who I really am. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not worse than anybody else either. I don't think I'm great and wonderful, but I think I do some great and wonderful things. And I don't think I'm awful, but sometimes I've done some awful things, But those do not define me. Because I can't be defined. I just am who I am, right? I am this person that I've been getting to know. It's a spiritual process for me, getting to know myself and understand myself, but it's also a psychological process. So let me tell you the 3 stages of the pyramid of self-worth, which is that model I mentioned earlier that I created years ago to help people start to work on self-worth. Because what I would see is that I would work with these women, really, women, we are the worst at this, at our self-worth. We struggle with it the most. I really think we do. Although I think men struggle with it too, to a very great degree, but they are on that flip side, like my sons, they are thinking they're too awesome. That's not good either. That's not humility. That's not true self-worth either. It might look like self-confidence. It might help you go out into the world and do more things, but it's also going to leave a wake when you do that, right? I mean, everybody listening out there, you can all think of people like that they seem so confident and they're out there and they're doing it, but they don't care who they're trampling on. They're not really paying attention to the feelings of those that they're leaving in their wake. And it's trouble, right? That's not self-worth or humility either. So true self-worth, I started to realize, had to be different. And I wondered, how do I help somebody feel their true worth? Now, that's a big question. Let me ask you that right now. First of all, do you believe in your true worth? Have you experienced that connection, that understanding of, oh, yeah, you know what? I am more than I understand. And that doesn't mean I'm greater or better than. It just means like, gosh, there's so much more to me, and there's so much more potential in me. And there's so many things that are good about me. And I was created to do some amazing things. Like, have you ever even just tapped into that knowledge, even in your thoughts, right? And then the next question is, if so, if not, then that's where we need to start, right? We need to start changing how you're thinking. But if so, can you feel it? Can you feel your worth today, right now, as you're listening to this? Can you feel self-love? Can you feel self-acceptance? Are you feeling self-aware? Are you feeling like you're being fair with yourself in your awareness of yourself? Or are you judging and overly critical? Right? These are the important questions. And so how do we feel that true worth? This is what got me fired up in the first place, and what keeps me fired up is just helping women, especially moms, because again, we have the potential to truly make a difference and change this world. We can combat all of the evils of the world, school shootings and pornography and, human trafficking and all of these things by raising generations that know their true worth and are willing to step forth in true confidence, speak up for the good, speak out against the evil, and make that difference from that place of true worth instead of that false confidence that it's all about me, right? This is how we learn to love, right? It's not only how we grow, it's how we love, right? So here's what we do. First is self-awareness. And you can go to my website and look all of this up. It's also in my books, Who Am I Without You? And 8 Keys to Mental Health Through Exercise. There are chapters all about self-esteem. Well, the whole book of Who Am I Without You is really a guide to how to build self-worth. So even though it says it's for a breakup or a loss, it's really for anyone wanting to build self-worth. But also on my blog, if you go look up self-worth or the pyramid of self-worth, you will find free articles that explain all of this and videos to go along with it. So, because I'm not going to get totally into it, but first is self-awareness. We have to be aware of ourselves. We have to see ourselves. That's why I loved the theme from American Mothers this year was, so we see. And what I said first in my speech was that I see you. I see your exceptionality. That is my favorite thing about being a psychologist and working with people who are in the hardest places and going through the most unbelievable challenges. I mean, I wish I had time to tell you some of the things that people have overcome that I've worked with. I mean, you can't even imagine some of the things. And yet, I get to see their exceptionality, because we all have it in there. And I get to help them find it and pull it out and dust it off and shine it up and put the badge on and say, all right, this is me and this is who I am. Okay, I like me, and get out there in the world and do their thing, whatever their thing may be. I love that. So I see your exceptionality, but do you is the question. And that is what self-awareness is about. Do you see not only the good that you do, the bad? I think many women are really good at seeing the bad and overemphasize the bad and underemphasize the good, but also what about the ugly? The things we really don't want to see. We call, in Jungian psychology, that's called the shadow side. And it's all the dark stuff that we kind of hide. And there's some exercises and things that I've learned to do with clients to help them start to kind of explore that and understand that. But, the ugly, do we see those things that, I'm so humiliated that I did that or said that, or, it's like the worst thing ever. I just don't even want to think about it. I don't want to work on it. I'm not going to learn from it because I don't want to see it, right? So we have to see it in order to change it. or to embrace it. And our exceptionality, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the exceptional. And that's where we really struggle. Saying, I am good at this. Yeah, thank you. I'm great at that. I'm really working on that. That's my talent. I'm so happy that you want me to share that with you. Yes, I will do it, right? We want to shine forth, because if we don't shine, who's going to do it? So first we have to see it, self-awareness. Then we have to practice self-acceptance. Oh, is that not the hardest? Everybody out there, you know it's true. It is so hard to accept certain things about ourselves. And for some of us, it's harder to accept the good and the exceptional. And for others, it might be harder to accept the bad and the ugly, right? And at certain times of our life, it might be easier to accept the good or the ugly or the exceptional or the bad or whatever, So that can change. But do we accept it? And do we understand that in accepting these things, it's not saying that I agree with it, I like it, I want it, I don't ever want to change it, I accept it so that that's how I am. That's not what that means. It means I accept that this is how I am right now, that this is what's happening right now, that this is who I am at this point in my life, and these things I don't like, and I want to change them. And so you can, but only once you accept them. Otherwise, you're just fighting them. You're fighting yourself. Once we accept ourselves, that's when we can learn to then, number 3, love ourselves. We cannot love ourselves without being aware of ourselves and accepting ourselves, all of ourselves, the whole part, the whole kit and caboodle, the whole deal, right? That is how we get to self-love. And self-love has 4 components that you can practice today. And all these things can be taught to your children. I know I'm going to do a course. I've decided right here, right now, I'm going to do a course on building self-worth that you can take on my website, because I just really want people to understand this and to know how to do it, and then how to teach it to your children. I think first and foremost, we have to model it. That's why I'm talking to you moms. We have to be the example. But secondly, then it is a challenge. I know I've got almost all teenagers or young adults right now, and a 10-year-old who thinks she's a teenager. So I do understand how hard it is with self-worth and children. And really when they get to that age where they start to listen to their friends more than you and forget what you've taught them all along, right? It's tough. So we'll find some resources for that. But for now, self-love. And here's what you can do, and here's what you can help your kids do. 4 things. Number 1, self-care. Are you taking care of yourself? We talk about this all the time on the show, right? Because we're not good at it. And we're always saying, I don't have time for myself. I even heard that. I heard that a couple of times at the Mothers, I keep saying Mothers Convention, American Mothers Convention, in different speeches that, that she cares so much for her children that she doesn't even take care of herself. Or she puts everybody ahead of her all the time and doesn't even think about herself. And while I totally commend those who serve relentlessly, I think service is incredibly important. I also know that self-care is immensely important too. And if you are putting others ahead of yourself at the risk of your own health, happiness, mental health, wellness, then you are doing a disservice not only to you, but to your family. Because I have learned the hard way that when I am happy, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, right? And when I am joyful, which I've been working on lately, to bring the joy to each day, actively to bring it. We're going to do another show on that. How do you do that? How do you increase your energy and bring the joy? When I do that, oh my gosh, my kids have been so much happier. They have been inspired by me. They have been setting goals and working on themselves because of how I've been doing. And when I'm just suffering and struggling, they struggle, because who wants their mom to feel down on themselves or to always be exhausted or to be unhealthy, right? So self-care. Second, we have to practice self-kindness. That to me means doing kind things for yourself. What would you do for somebody else to show them kindness? And are you doing that for yourself? Even just giving yourself time away, or a bath, or time with friends, or whatever it might be. And then number 3 goes along with it, which is self-compassion, which to me involves how we think and feel about ourselves. Are we compassionate with ourselves? And do we give ourselves a break when we are struggling or when we have challenges? Or are we just on ourselves all the time and can't give ourselves a break like we would for somebody else? Are we compassionate with ourselves? And finally, letting others love you. And that includes God, your higher power too, because so many women and mothers, and hear me now, everybody, so many of us block that divine love. Of course, we don't feel worthy or feel like we're good enough because we don't believe that God, our higher power, the universe could ever love us as much as somebody else because of, I don't know, what we've done or who we think we are. And we block it and we don't receive it. But without receiving that pure love, we can't truly embrace our true worth. We can't truly comprehend it. We can't embrace that feeling of it. And we can't then move forth in the world and act out of it. And that's the final point for today. And the thing that I've learned recently after, working on this for so many years is with that, once we've worked through our self-worth, and it's a continual process for some more than others. For some, yes, we do have a little bit easier time just feeling that and tapping into it and acting from that place. And I love those people. I love meeting those people that are just like, they just know who they are and they're just sharing it, and that's who I'm working to be. And some of us struggle more. And that's okay, and it's a lifelong process and things can knock us off and we have to redo it all again. So that's okay. This is just how it goes. But once we have that self-worth, that humility, that knowledge of who we are, then we have to act from that place. And that is the third step. We have to believe that we are worthy. We have to feel it and know it deep down. So to me, those kind of go hand in hand, but they're two separate things, but that's knowing your true self-worth and embracing it and feeling it. But then you have to take that final step, which is to move forward and act from the place of self-worth. When we do that, that is where we change the world, women. Amen. Can I get an amen? Because it is true. I've seen it over and over in my own life, in my clients' lives, and so many other women's lives who have totally inspired me. And I have to say that yes, you can. Yes, you can do it. You may be thinking, well, that must be nice for you, but my whole life I've been told I was worthless, so how am I ever supposed to believe that? Or I have this particular situation though, and my own kids think I'm worthless, or they think I'm a terrible mother or person. And so what do you tell me? Well, what I tell you is that just this week, we heard some amazing stories of people who suffered horrendous abuse. A human trafficking survivor that I'm going to have on the show, who was sold by her mother into basically slavery when she was a young teenager, 13 years old, and for 10 years was a slave of a man. And now is helping others, and she knows her true worth, and she is encouraging all of us, you need to know who you are and move forward. Another one who said that her father was an alcoholic and cut her with a broken bottle when she was young and said, whenever you see that scar, you remember you are worthless. I mean, seriously, is that horrible or what? And she was the most inspiring of all. She didn't even speak English. And she was just like on fire, lighting us up. You've got to believe in who you are. Don't you listen to the people that are trying to kill your dreams. You have dreams. You are better. You can overcome this. No, you have no excuses. You can do this. Oh, we have no excuses, moms. We have no excuses. If you need therapy to help you through some of those challenges, I highly encourage you to do that. That is one of the best things you can do. And even the one woman, the human trafficking survivor, said that she loves therapy because she is just constantly in therapy. And that's totally helped her heal and find the right person to do that. And then practice self-worth. Practice makes not perfect, but progress, right? And we are interested in progression. I am. I hope you are too. Well, I've been on my soapbox long enough, and I hope this has been helpful. And, as we wrap up, for those in the video, here is my Mother of the Year award. I actually got a medal. I'm going to put it on and own it. And what I'm going to do is when my kids are really acting up or not listening to me or, following my incredible advice, right? I'm going to put on my award and I'm going to remind them, hey, Mother of the Year here. You guys need to listen to me, okay? Or even when I feel like I need to be pampered or have a break, I'm going to put on my award, right? This is physical representation of what we need to do inside all the time, accept our exceptionality. Accept your exceptionality because it's there. And that is my superpower, is to see it and to help you feel known and loved and hopefully inspired and empowered. That is my goal of all of these shows, and in everything I do. And I hope I get to meet you in person. I hope you'll invite me to come speak to you or your group. I love to do that. I hope you'll go take my Mastery of Motherhood survey at masteryofmotherhood.com and be part of my new book and share your stories with me. I hope you'll email me, Christy, CHRISTI, at drchristinahibbert.com, and tell me your thoughts on today's episode and on what you're working on and questions you might have. I hope that we can be connected, because really, now that I know who I really am, I can't hide it, and I want you all to feel the same. That is my purpose, my mission, and the thing that fuels me. So all of you Mothers of the Year out there, you may not be a Mother of the Year official like I wasn't 10 years ago, but you can feel like a Mother of the Year when you work on yourself. And that's what Mastery of Motherhood is all about. It's about self-mastery. We're going to have a lot more episodes on that, a lot more things we'll be talking about soon. And we're going to have a lot of the Mothers of the Year from different states come on and share some of the things that they have been doing, which will really inspire you and teach you and educate you in so many different areas. It's just, we got a great year coming up, everybody. So thank you for hanging with me for this long and for being here each week on Motherhood, to grow through motherhood with me and to master motherhood and to comprehend our true worth so that we can show our children theirs, so that they can get out and we can get out and shine. We are made to shine, mamas. That is our superpower too. And I hope to see you next time here on Motherhood. And until then, you have a great week, and remember who you truly are. Bye-bye.